everyone, and welcome to the Good Doctor's Diagnose for, I'm peering at my computer calendar, November 25th. It's the day before Thanksgiving, and I am tired. I don't know about you. You can see my office is a little bit in disarray. My camera is freaking out because it is also tired. One of the 400 masks I have lying around because that's our lives now. And I don't know about you, but this has been one of the years in which finding things that I'm thankful for is both eminently immediate, like completely easy. Of course, everyone I love personally is safe and alive. I have a job. My husband has a job. We have a roof over our heads. And no matter if a stimulus happens or not, we're going to be able to pay our bills. And we are beyond grateful for that. We both know that it is no amount of luck sometimes, the difference between these kind of things. And yet other things to be thankful for is more difficult because this year has been hard. The last couple of months, I think especially have been hard. I think even those of us who knew we weren't going to be through these woods by now, like the reality of, oh my gosh, like I was in my house all summer. Now I'm in my house all winter, and I'm not in my house all winter because it's cold. I'm in my house all winter because that's the only option. It's very, very emotional. The weight of the amount of strategy it takes to leave the house, whether you should leave the house or not, the social minefield that asking people questions these days has become, especially in some parts of the country. I have friends in Texas who actually have been terrified for the last 3 weeks to ask anybody about Thanksgiving plans because they don't want to know who else they have to stop being friends with. They all happen to be, this particular family I'm talking about happens to be immunocompromised. And so they can't, and so haven't really spent time with anybody in person because especially in states like Texas where the mask mandate hasn't been made, it's impossible to know if someone has interacted with somebody who was not masked. It's a little bit easier in some other parts of the country. Philly is definitely, people not wearing masks are few and far between up here. And back when Philadelphia County was open to indoor dining, my husband and I went to one of our favorite restaurants, which is called Laurel. It's incredible. It's down in South Philly on Passyunk Avenue, which is not super far from all like the cheesesteak stuff where Rocky ran and the Italian market and things like that. And we were down there twice in the fall to eat. And both times everyone around was walking around. No one was unmasked. We saw one person get out of the car not wearing a mask, and 3 people on the sidewalk were like, mask. So it's been a wildly different experience for different people depending where you are in the world. And that's also strange and bizarre because if you were sitting somewhere, I have a friend in South Dakota who is incredibly stressed out. She's a scientist and is incredibly stressed out by the numbers. And she watches countries like France take it to what she views as very seriously, governors like New York and Pennsylvania talking in the languages that she likes, and she feels so impotent. So all of this is real, and I think it makes Thanksgiving a little bit difficult this year, beyond the fact that a lot of us can't do the normal traditions, beyond the fact that, as you know, Dr. Hinston and I spend a lot of time even asking if how we talk about Thanksgiving is good or okay, because the history that we were taught in schools is so shallow, especially on behalf of the way that the relations between the Pilgrims and the Indigenous Americans were actually terrible. And Thanksgiving was more of an aberration than a pattern. And all of this is messy. It's all messy. And I know we spend a lot of time on this channel talking about leadership and how to work with your folks and how to work with teams, because that's what we do and that's what we're really concerned about. But as a human being right now, sitting in the times of COVID of 2020, I want to be honest with you and level and say, I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. We're not gathering with my extended family. My immediate family has become a bit of a COVID pod, because my dad and my brother and I all work together. So seeing each other hasn't been an option. As you guys know, we've said we're essential workers and we're here all the time. And so I will see my parents and my husband on Thanksgiving. I won't see my aunts or uncles, or the other people that I have celebrated Thanksgiving with for most of my life on some level. And I don't even know if we're going to Zoom because it feels so cheap. Like we Zoomed at Easter and it was weird and rough, and that was before we all even all had our own personal Zoom accounts in a way. So I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what tomorrow is going to feel like. I try very hard to hold intention every Thanksgiving since I really started learning about Indigenous Americans when I was in college. I've tried ever since really to hold the fact that yes, the story that we are told behind this holiday is not completely accurate, but the emotions behind this holiday are something that I can really, really get behind. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday for the simple fact that it's entirely about hospitality and not at all about expectations. Christmas comes with stress of gift giving and showing up dressed appropriately at parties. And of course, this year that's going to be different. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. The spiritual side of Christmas is incredibly important to me as a person of faith. I believe deeply in the incarnation of Christ and what that means for the planet, and Christmas is incredibly important to me. But the trappings of Thanksgiving emotionally resonate with me because my driving life goal is radical hospitality. And how I manifest tomorrow, the traditions I hold tomorrow, I can't do. And it's weird. It's weird. So how do we both execute thankfulness, the radical thankfulness that all of us should have this year, especially if we haven't lost a loved one or have not been sick ourselves, or if we are sick ourselves, perhaps that's an easy thing to be thankful for, that you recovered. But for those of us, for this life I have so many friends that lost their jobs. I have friends that lost their houses. I have friends that literally have no idea if they're going to have a home on January 1st when their landlord asks for rent for the first time in a couple of months. How do you operationalize thankfulness right now in a way that's not trite or it sounds like a Hallmark card? I think it's something that I'm going to be thinking about for a while. There's a lot of things in my life I'm thankful for. I'm definitely thankful for any of you that watch this. We have been building this channel for a couple years now. And as we've tried to figure out our brand, Dr. Aaron and I always knew that we wanted to be helpful. We always knew that we wanted to help people understand people and systems better, because that's what we do innately as part of our brain. And the longer that we were out of academia, the more we realized that our particular view on the planet is pretty distinct. And we wanted to be able to help the market use that to be more effective in how it handles people. But operationalizing that has been a challenge. And we're not always sure we're hitting it on the mark in some ways, moment of vulnerability. So this YouTube channel has been a huge way of how we've kind of figured that out and what that looks like. So we are thankful for every comment. We are thankful for the engagement, especially on The Crown and on Handmaid's Tale. We love discussing that stuff. I have loved the couple of comments I got on my Nexium thing. I love talking about those things. I'm thankful that you spend your time with us. And I'm thankful that living in the 21st century has meant that we have a way to disseminate some of these questions in ways that are rough drafts and not ways that are written in ink. Every YouTube video is a rough draft of our ideas. And we hope to continue to evolve. So those are all kind of really random and deep thoughts I'm recording this at 7:45 in the morning. The first shift of manufacturing is about to start here. So we're going to get on with the work of manufacturing the stains that diagnose cancer and the dye that diagnoses glaucoma, like we do every day. And I hope wherever you are, you get on with the business of being gentle with yourself and working out thankfulness, whatever it means. We'll see you next week when we will be, in full disclosure, in full Christmas spirit. Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate.